Portage Township was formed in the early March of 1878 as a lumber and mine town. Its contribution to the railroad and mining industries helped to stabilize the North's economy in the 19th century. The most prominent example of this is the Allegheny Portage Railroad, built in the 1840s, which was the first ever railroad that stretched across the Allegheny Mountains and connected the eastern side of America to the west. Some of the most recognizable people to have ridden the railroad are Charles Dickens and Ulysses S. Grant.
Skipping forward 100 years, some of the most remembered historical events to occur in Portage happened between the years of 1935 and 1940. On St. Patrick's Day of 1936, terrible floods spread all across the state of Pennsylvania. Portage, of course, was one of the towns that received the worst of the storm, with over 100 deaths and about $300 million worth of damage. Another great tragedy struck the small town shortly after in the year 1940. On July 15th, the Sunman mine exploded, killing 63 young men in the process.
My dad's family was Zimmerman. They were a big family, a farm family. They had a farm right where the golf course is on Unster Road. It was called the Zimmerman Farm. And my grandpa Zimmerman and my uncle Laird were both in the Salmon mine explosion and died. My dad was supposed to be in the explosion. My dad dropped out of school in before 8th grade, because they liked little boys working in the mine, because little boys could get into small spaces. So little boys would leave school to work in the mine to make money for their families. So my dad had dropped out of school before 8th grade, and he was 16 or 17 when the mine explosion, I think it was older, maybe 18. The mine explosion happened. The only reason he was scheduled to be in the mine that day, but a lot of people in town then were going to Ohio to work in Ford car factory there they made more money there. So my dad had told his mother, I'm quitting the mines, I'm going to work in the Ford factory, but he hadn't left town yet when the explosion happened. So he was waiting outside the explosion site with his mother till they brought the bodies out. And what happened in that explosion was a gas called methane. Gas called methane builds up, and you can't smell it. That's why they used to take canaries into mines, because the canaries would sing, but if the canary stopped singing, it was time to get out, because the canary would die first from the methane. I don't know. They must not have had a canary or canary. I don't know, but they were back. They went back into a outcrop stayed as long as they could before the gas got them, because they know that they were alive for a while, and they knew they were dying because they scratched letters to their wives on their lunch boxes, and they found notes that people that had charcoal to write with. So they knew they'd been alive for a while when they knew they were dying by the notes that they found. So it was really sad. Lucky for me, my dad didn't die, or I wouldn't be here.
One of the oldest industries still up and running in Portage today is Le Mans Machine Company, which was opened as a mining supply operation in 1929, but the business's focus eventually shifted more to the railroad, steel, and welding communities. Another classic store in Portage is Stager's, originally founded in the 1960s as a hardware store, but quickly changed its aim and became known as the town's best grocery store. Lastly, a staple of Portage is the Chatterbox. Opened only in 2011 and sitting on Main Street, the coffee shop, which used to be Schoenfeld's department store, is filled with relics of the town's history.
Len Chappell is easily one of Portage's most famous faces. He was born and raised in the small town, quickly becoming recognized as a star during his time on Portage High School's basketball team. Chappell then went on to play for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons for 3 years before being chosen as the New York Knicks' newest player. He was the highest scorer of the team for a year and played in 2 All-Star games. He is now remembered on May 19th, which is considered Len Chapel Day in Portage. Following the theme of famous sports in town, the Portage area high school football team was chosen to star in the Tom Cruise movie All the Right Moves. This movie shows the story of a teen trapped in a small mill town using football as his ticket out. The movie came out in 1983, and the most memorable part of filming for many of the boys was when one of their team members, Richard Schaefer, broke his leg after being tackled by Tom Cruise himself.
Like I said, this is a really good location, close, not far from Pittsburgh, not far from anywhere. And the cost of housing is cheap, the cost of living is cheap, and everybody loves you.